saved my soul. Freedom is all that I know. The old made new. Jesus, when I met you, you called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. Now your mercy has saved my soul. Freedom is all that I know. The old made new. Jesus, when I met you, you called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. I needed rescue, my sin was heavy, but chains break at the weight of your glory. I needed shelter, I was an orphan, now you call me citizen of heaven. When I was broken, you were my healing, now your love is the air that I'm breathing. I have a future, my eyes are open, 'cause when you call my name, I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day.
Good morning, Firmly Rooted family. Pastor Tom, Firmly Rooted Church, Greendale, Indiana, Oxford, Michigan. Great to have all of you on board. We are going to be looking at Acts 17. It is, I don't know, it's one of my favorite ones. It is, Paul finally makes it to Athens. And so he's there with all the philosophers and the Greek philosophers and stuff. So we're going to have a chance to look at that over the next couple days. Let's say hi to a few people, and then we'll get rolling. Vivian Davis, good morning. Chuck B, good morning from the Rooted Greendale and Oxford family. Emily Connolly, good morning. Let's see, who else? Connie Sandbrink, good morning. I'm out there on X. Bert Reggiani, good morning. My cousin Dave Donnelly out there on X. Also, Dr. Colleen, good morning. Praying for you and Kimberly this morning. His healing, protection, comfort, and peace. Amen to that. Jody Glenn, good morning. My sister Trish, good morning. Maureen Ponaworski, good morning. Karen Thompson, good morning. We've got a good host of people on board. Great to have you. Let me pull up the Athens reading, and we're just going to look at a few verses here, 16 to 21. It's just a setup. But we will start from there. While Paul was waiting for them in Athens, waiting for the others to come. Remember, he sends people out, he sends them back, he sends them with letters, they send letters back to him. This whole process of trying to keep his finger on the pulse of these new churches that he's beginning to develop. He was greatly distressed to see the city was full of idols. Athens, the city of the Greek gods. There'll be sculptures everywhere. There'd be religious leaders everywhere. There'd be philosophers everywhere. They're debating and talking about all the gods and how ultimately what's really real and what's really true and how should someone live, right? And so you're going to have all of this. I mean, it's kind of like being in Jerusalem, but not talking about just one God, but like all of these gods, right? And what their roles were and what they did. And so he's distressed. There's also a Jewish synagogue there. Verse 17, so he reasoned in the synagogue with both Jews and God-fearing Greeks. So Jews and also Greeks converted to Judaism, who are living out their faiths in this synagogue. He's reasoning in the synagogue, reasoning. I think sometimes we forget that Christianity is reasonable. Now, someone deluded may not hear the truth in it, but it's truth. My point is that we all have a worldview, and certainly in Athens, you got all these people talking about what's the right worldview. Paul, you and I, believing that Christianity is the right worldview, is reasonable. It's not a leap of faith. It's not leaping out into the darkness. It is the best explanation for what is all of this that we see out here in the universe. Who am I in this universe? Why am I the way that I am? Is there an answer to my moral dilemma? How should I live? Is there life after this? Those key philosophical questions, Paul believes, I believe, are found in Christianity. Not because Paul and I took a blind leap out into some kind of abyss, but because it's the most reasonable approach. If you lay the Christian worldview over atheism, or lay it over Buddhism, or lay it over Hinduism, it appears to be the most reasonable approach. And so Paul can go into this Jewish synagogue with his Old Testament understanding and reasonably tell these Jewish people and these converts that Jesus is the Messiah. So he reasoned in the synagogue with both Jews and God-fearing Greeks, as well as in the marketplace, in the marketplace. He's also out on the streets day by day and speaking with anyone that he can. A group of Epicurean and Stoic philosophers began to debate with him. And this is interesting because the Stoics were more focused on how one should live and how one should react to the world. They were very internalist. They were looking inside, saying, who am I and how ought I live? It's interesting that this group of philosophers began to debate with him out there on the streets. Some of them asked, what is this babbler trying to say? Others remarked, he seems to be advocating foreign gods. They said this because Paul was preaching the good news about Jesus and the resurrection. Paul's always talking about the resurrection. Why? Because he met a resurrected Jesus. He was confronted by a resurrected Jesus. The disciples saw a resurrected Jesus for 40 days before he ascended into heaven. The fact is, these individuals, these believers in Jesus Christ. It's not a blind faith. They physically saw him and heard him, and everything came together as true. Then they took him and brought him to a meeting at the Areopagus. This would be the epicenter. The epicenter of the debates and the discussions and the Epicurean and the Plato and Aristotle and all these kinds of things, talking about the different worldviews. So they take him to the meeting of the Areopagus, where they said to him, "May we know what this new teaching is that you're presenting?" Now listen, they're not adversarial, they're debating. This is what they do every day. They kind of throw out ideas and debate them from a logical perspective, from a reality perspective. I wish we as American citizens did more of this. Like, tried to find the veracity and the truth in things, rather than just being subjective about our truth. Because if there is absolute truth, then that means my subjective truth may be wrong, and my whole worldview could be wrong because of the ignorance of not knowing what this objective truth is. So they're open to the discussion. This isn't adversarial at this point. This is just, hey, we want to hear more. You are bringing some strange ideas to our ears, and we would like to know what they mean. And all the Athenians and the foreigners who lived there spent their time doing nothing but talking about and listening to the latest ideas. This is what they did. Again, I wish American society was more like this, that we could openly just sit and talk, philosophically talk, practically talk about life and what its meaning and purpose is, and how we ought to live and how we ought to respond. I pray someday that we come back to this type of understanding. Why? Because in that debate, truth will rise to the surface, like cream rises to the top. And all of a sudden, things become more true, more right. Tomorrow, we're going to look at Paul's message. Again, powerful. And we're going to talk about what he did and how he did it. And I kind of talked about this whole text when we did the Two Islands sermon series, but we'll get to that tomorrow. So let me get back to here and pull myself back into the screen. See if anybody else came on board. Well, some did, but they haven't told us they're there yet. All right. I think that's it then. We're going to be back at 9 o'clock for prayer. Blessings on your day. Make it a firmly rooted day, and may someone see Jesus in us today. Peace.